Now at 5, how the McDonald County School District is stepping up its security. Plus, we'll check out a new Veterans Monument in Barton County. And
new hope for millions of veterans exposed to toxic burn pits during war. I'm Natalie Brand at the White House, where the president signed into law a new bill that was years in the making.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
With the new school year starting, the McDonald County school leaders are making sure they put the safety of their students first by updating their camera security systems. This is KOAM News at 5. I'm Jalen Banks. The new cameras will give better and more clear locations of and allow school lenders to better monitor inside and outside the schools. The district will install around 350 cameras, which includes all buildings. Tonight at 6, we'll hear from the school and its officials about the upgrades. St. Anne's Catholic School in Carthage is partnering with Notre Dame University to enhance its bilingual education program. The program focuses on teaching preschoolers how to write and speak in English and Spanish. With the Hispanic community increasing within Carthage, St. Anne's wants them to keep their roots while growing.
Let's not make them get rid of their language. Let's take the language they have and add onto it, so they're not losing their identity, they're not losing their cultural identity, their language identity, but we're adding onto it to give greater growth.
St. Anne's is integrating bilingual lessons in the older grades as well. Barton County Memorial in Lamar is in the process of adding new veteran monuments. 3 of the 7 monuments have been installed so far. They are not only for area veterans, but a tribute to veterans all over the world. Joe Davis, president of the Barton County Memorial Board, says the idea of making the monuments triangle shaped was a unique one.
I do the interviews, I write the articles, but I've got a lot of people behind me that help me. I definitely couldn't do it by myself. But I live in the neighborhood. 5 of our 7 board members live in the neighborhood, so it's important for all of us to see something come in here.
The monuments will be finished by the Memorial Park's opening celebration on September 17th. A Black Hawk helicopter will fly and land in the park during the celebration. And now Doug Hitty joins us with weather.
Well, it turned out to be a decent day for us today. A little bit hotter than what we did see yesterday, and it's mainly going to be dry over the next several days. Temperatures are really going to start to heat up as we head into the weekend. We do get some rain chances by next week, but until then, we are pretty much dry. You can always get my long range forecast on my month-long blog, KOAMnewsnow.com. Nothing going on here. Clear skies, really any showers or thunderstorms. You have to travel off to our south. We're setting upper 80s to near 90. We even have mid 90s. Once you get out across southeastern Kansas, our atmosphere is pretty dry, so it allows those temperatures to warm up pretty quickly. But as we look outside, sitting at 91, it feels like 90. Through the evening hours, we'll slide back through the 80s, 70s, eventually into the 60s. Later on tonight, we're going to look at the heat moving back in here in just a bit.
Former President Donald Trump today pleaded the 5th during his deposition with the New York Attorney General's office. The probe was part of a long-running civil investigation looking into whether the Trump Organization inflated the values of multiple real estate properties to get favorable loans and tax deductions. Trump also released a statement saying, when your family, your company, and the people in your orbit have become targets of an unfounded, politically motivated witch hunt, you have no choice. Veterans and surviving family members of those impacted by burn pits on military bases overseas today joined President Biden and celebrity activist Jon Stewart for a singing ceremony. It's to mark the passage of a bill veteran groups call the most significant veterans healthcare legislation ever. Reporter Natalie Brand has more details from the White House.
Veterans and their families surrounded President Biden as he signed into law a bill they spent years fighting for.
When they came home, many of the fittest and best warriors that we sent to war were not the same.
The PACT Act expands health care benefits for millions of veterans who returned home from war sick.
We know that I have lead poisoning, that I have high levels of uranium, bismuth, and barium in my system, all of which the doctors attribute to my service in Iraq.
Army veteran Eric Donahoe, who deployed to Iraq, suffered toxic exposure from burn pits on base.
burning trash and all kinds of other debris like batteries, Humvees, tires, medical waste, human waste is bad for us to breathe in. They should have known that, and they did know that.
This new law helps veterans link more than 20 respiratory illnesses and cancers to their toxic exposure, making it easier for them to get care and benefits.
The burden of proof will be removed from veterans from proving the connection between those 23 illnesses and their deployments.
Navy veteran Tom Porter of Iraq Afghanistan Veterans of America says before today, most claims had been turned down.
It's monumental. This is the biggest deal, probably the biggest veterans health care legislation that's ever been passed into law.
The hardest thing in this entire challenge for me has been my kids witnessing me going in and out of the hospital.
While the health battles may be far from over, today provides new hope. Natalie Brand, CBS News, the White House.
Jon Stewart was a very vocal advocate, helping highlight the need for legislation and pushing Congress to pass the legislation. And still ahead, a new report on inflation.
Consumer prices are on the rise, but not as much as expected. I'm Dina Demetrius with the latest report detailing what we're paying more for and what's getting a little bit cheaper.
And next in Health Watch, scientists work on a new way to combat a dangerous tick-borne illness. A survey finds 61% of Americans over age 50 who have already gotten at least one dose of the COVID-19 vaccine intend to get a booster shot this fall. 21% say they're somewhat likely to get a booster, while 17% say they'll skip it. The likelihood of getting a booster goes up to 68% among people over the age of 65 and older, African American adults, and those with low incomes. Lyme disease is one of the most common tick-borne diseases in the U.S., and cases are increasing. Now researchers are looking for volunteers in the U.S. and Europe to test a new vaccine to prevent Lyme. Reporter Michael George has more.
When Robert Terwilliger heard about a study testing a vaccine for Lyme disease, he rolled up his sleeve. He enjoys hunting and hiking.
I'm hoping it works this way. I won't have no worries, you know. I can go out in the woods and enjoy myself, and if I find a tick on me, okay, I'm good. I don't have to worry about anything, you know, because it's always a worry.
U.S.-based Pfizer and a French biotech company developed the experimental vaccine known as VLA15, which aims to block a tick from transmitting the infection when it bites.
It's a vaccine that's designed to prevent Lyme disease caused by the 6 most common types of Lyme bacteria in both the US and Europe.
Deer ticks carry the bacteria that causes Lyme. Symptoms include fever, headache, fatigue. For some, the first sign is a red, round bullseye rash. Infection can spread to joints, the heart, and the nervous system if not treated. CDC estimates suggest around 476,000 people get Lyme disease each year in the U.S. Researchers hope to enroll at least 6,000 people in areas where Lyme disease is common, such as the Northeast. Volunteers can be as young as 5 years old.
Ever since we learned of this trial several months ago, we've had people on a waiting list waiting to be notified. So absolutely, we have people who are interested.
In earlier studies, the companies reported a good immune response and no problems with safety. The next phase will test if the vaccine is effective and safe. Michael George, CBS News, New York.
Participants will receive 3 doses between now and next spring, and then a booster a year later. Climate hazards like flooding, heat waves, and drought are aggravating more than half of diseases that infect people. That's according to a new study published in the journal Nature Climate Change. Researchers also looked at non-infectious sicknesses like asthma and allergies and found climate hazards were making more than 75% of those conditions worse. And salt substitutes lower the risk of heart attack, stroke, and death, according to an analysis of studies from around the world. Researchers found the salt substitutes lowered blood pressure in all participants regardless of where they live, their age, sex, health history, or weight. And that's a look at today's top health stories. And a little later, our pet vet on call.
Hi, I'm Dr. Eva Dudek from Parsons Pet Hospital. Coming up, we're going to talk about horses' manes.
Plus, temperatures have been pretty good the past couple days, but we start to heat back up. We're going to look at that coming up. Well, of course, it was still hot for us today. Just a lower level of hot temperatures, mainly into low to mid 90s. Not much in the way of humidity, which is always nice, and a nice shot of Indigo Sky Casino and Resort. Of course, Indigo is just outside of Seneca, Missouri. So if we look at the month so far, week 1, temperatures hung out right around 100, if not above, all week. And then this past Monday, we hit 101. Yesterday was our only cooler than average day, a high of 89, back above average once again for us today as we've made it up to about 93 as we went into the afternoon. 91 in Joplin, it feels like 90. Our dew point's only 59, which is pretty good for this time of the year. And most of our temperatures across the metro from about 90 in Carthage, 89 in Neosho. Once you get out, Miami, Fairland, sitting into lower 90s. Pittsburgh is sitting at 90 degrees. So thankfully we don't have the humidity, but it also allows our temperatures to warm up very quickly. So that's why we have mid, even upper 90s once you get into our western counties. Through the evening hours, we'll slip back through the 90s, 80s, 70s. Actually very comfortable tonight. I think most of us will bottom out right around 64, 65 degrees, which we can definitely handle. And then, of course, we heat back up for us tomorrow. Nothing going on outside. We have clear skies. Most of the Central Plains, really clear skies. You have to track south before you find any showers or thunderstorms. We just don't really have any rain chances over the next several days. It's going to stay fairly dry. As we go through the overnight hours tonight, we're going to have these easterly winds, mid 60s, so pretty good start to the day. As we go through the morning hours, here's the noon hour. Most of us are going to be sitting into the mid to upper 80s. Plenty of clear skies, and then we warm into lower 90s for highs. You can see back into the mid to upper 90s once you get out across southeastern Kansas. Tomorrow evening looks fine. As we go into the overnight hours tomorrow night, back into the upper 60s for overnight lows, and then as we head into Friday, a little bit hotter. We get mainly into the upper 90s during the afternoon. So we're going to add 2 or 3 degrees to our highs each and every day. Day planner for you tomorrow. We're going to slide back mid 60s. You can see clear skies all day long. And then we warm into the 80s, into the lower 90s by the time we head into the afternoon. Humidity is still going to be pretty low, which is good news. So we don't have to worry about much in the way of mugginess across the region. Near 100 though, by the time Saturday rolls around, we should go into the lower 100s by the time we head into Sunday. So it's really going to heat up. Monday also near 100, but look at this front just to our north and to our east. It will start to press in. So this is going to give us rain chances on Tuesday, rain chances on Wednesday, and it looks like we could really cool down late next week, which is great news. 94 tomorrow, 96 Friday, 99 Saturday, 102 on Sunday, 103 on Monday. There's chances for showers and thunderstorms on Tuesday and Wednesday, but look at this. High of only 78. Next Thursday, 79. Friday, 87. Saturday. So this is that kind of prolonged cool period I've been talking about the past couple nights that we should get to see late next week.
Everybody in the 4 states will be really looking forward to that.
Yeah.
78 and 79 back-to-back days.
Not too bad.
Oh man, that's awesome. Well, thank you, Doug. Our More Power Tower project is finally complete and it's time to celebrate. The first stop on our More Power to You tour is tomorrow in Miami, Oklahoma. We'll broadcast our 5 and 6 o'clock newscast live from the Ottawa County Fair. You can stop by to win a Roku and be in the drawing for Kansas City Chiefs tickets. And coming up, the latest federal inflation report. But first, we honor a local veteran, Sergeant First Class Ora Story. Story served in the Army from 1950 to 1952, and again in 1970 till 1971. The Webb City native served in Korea and Vietnam. To Sergeant First Class Ora Story, we thank you, our 4-state hero. Topping today's Consumer Watch, economists are cautiously optimistic that inflation may be slowing down. Reporter Dina Demetrius has the latest of the results of a report.
Gas prices are much higher compared to last year, but the national average for a gallon has dropped about $1 since mid-June.
I think it's great. Great.
That's a big reason why the pace of inflation is slowing down. The government says overall consumer prices were up 8.5% in July compared to the previous year. That's historically high, but better than June's 9.1%.
It appears that June may have been the peak in inflation, and I don't want everyone to get too excited because it's just 1 month.
The report comes as back-to-school shopping is in full swing, and there is some good news for parents. Meredith Casey is buying for her son Jack, who's headed to college.
We're getting all the last-minute necessities, school supplies, clothes, shoes.
The new report shows prices for educational books and supplies only increased 3.1% over last year. Computers actually dropped 3.5%, and smartphones are down 20% in the past 12 months.
1 month doesn't make a trend, but if things go well in the future, I think that we are likely to see prices trending lower through this year and into next.
While prices on some items are coming down, there is still sticker shock at the grocery store, with food prices up more than 13% over last year, a rate not seen since 1979. Rent costs are also rising rapidly. The Federal Reserve will meet next month and is expected to implement more measures to try and slow down those increasing prices. Dina Demetrius, CBS News, Los Angeles.
Some other bright spots in the report include airfares, which have dropped nearly 8% from June to July. And also, hotel costs and used car prices also fell. Chipotle Mexican Grill has agreed to a $20 million settlement over violations of New York City's worker protection laws. The company is accused of violating city scheduling and sick leave laws that went into effect in 2014 and 2017. In the settlement, hourly workers will get $50 for every week they worked during that period. Big businesses are coming together to try and fight the threat of cyber attacks. Well-known companies like Amazon, IBM, Salesforce are leading an initiative to create a new standard in cybersecurity. It's called the Open Cybersecurity Schema Framework. It aims to solve a critical bottleneck for businesses facing cyber threats, the ability to share threat information. And up next, our pet vet on call. Up next on the CBS Evening News, the battle between Texas and New York over thousands of migrants. Then on the KOAM News at 6, a Kansas man is convicted of performing illegal autopsies. And we'll hear from the Lamar, Missouri high school football team as they prepare for the upcoming season. Stay with us for that and the CBS Evening News, and then the KOAM News at 6. Well, different animals have unique features, but do they serve a purpose, or are they just for show? Why do horses have manes?
You know, I think it's cosmetics. I think it's something to accentuate their magnificent beauty. But there are theories to that, and most of that is pest control. The mane keeps blood-sucking insects from getting on their neck, especially in their jugular. The forelock on their forehead keeps flies out of their eyes. Even bigger predators like I don't know, lions or things that would jump at a horse and try to grab its neck would get a mouthful of mane, so giving the horse a chance to turn around and kick. But I still think it's a fashion statement.
We invite questions from anyone, and if you have one, just send it to petvet@koamtv.com. Dr. Ava Dudek from the Parsons Pet Hospital answers different questions or brings us a fun fact every Wednesday on our KOAM News at 5. You can also find answers to previous questions on our website. Now let's check out our pick of the litter from this week. From the Joplin Humane Society, we've chosen this adult female domestic medium hair cat named Biscuits. And from the Southeast Kansas Humane Society, we have a 1-year-old female pit bull terrier mix. Her name is Petey. And if you're looking for a pet, why not check out your local Humane Society? All right, Doug, what do we have?
Looks pretty good for us tonight. We're going to drop back into the mid-60s for overnight lows and kind of a dry heat over the next few days. So we heat up 94 tomorrow, 96 Friday, 99 Saturday. Triple digits Sunday and Monday, and then some rain chances moving in by the middle of next week.
All right, awesome. Well, you guys heard them. Go out, check out your local humane societies. But other than that, thank you for joining us. Your CBS Evening News is next. And of course, we'll be right back here for your KOAM News at 6. We'll see you then. Let's make it a great evening.